Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and immediately set the stage for the breaking news we're seeing. We are tracking reports of an imminent and frankly unprecedented military strike. Today, we're going to break down the exact details of what is happening in the Middle East right now, based strictly on the latest reports and official statements. We really need to look at exactly how the conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran has reached this absolute boiling point.
Now, the crucial point to understand here is the ticking clock. The weekend of August 1st and 2nd is being reported as the critical window for this planned military operation. And you might be wondering, why does that specific weekend matter so much? Well, on August 3rd, Monday morning, global financial markets open. That creates immense international urgency when you consider the potential economic fallout. Honestly, the whole world is basically holding its breath before the sun comes up on Monday.
All right, let's move into Section 1. Massive weekend strike, warnings and plans.
So according to August 1st, U.S. media reports, the U.S. and Israel are preparing one of the most powerful joint operations we've seen, aimed squarely at Iran's energy sector. But what's especially notable here is Israel's positioning. You remember Israel had actually paused direct attacks on Iran since the truce memorandum back in June. But these new reports indicate they are fully prepared to rejoin U.S. forces and step right back into direct conflict.
Which brings us to Section 2, Conflicting Scenarios, U.S. Media Reports.
What's really wild about this next part is how top U.S. intelligence and media outlets are painting two distinctly opposing realities. It's like a split screen. On one side, CBS is reporting a highly market-conscious approach, stating President Trump hasn't given final approval yet, and that discussions are focused on finishing any strike before Monday's market open, to limit economic damage. But then, on the exact opposite side, the Wall Street Journal reports that the president has already ordered a finalized, relentless, multi-day assault designed to completely break Iran, with absolutely no immediate end date in sight.
The president's own position was made pretty clear during a cabinet meeting at Camp David. He warned, and I quote, "We will hit them very hard. At some point, they will say, I can't take it anymore." He's signaling a really heavy-handed approach here. According to aides, he also reportedly referred to Iranian leaders as crazy, which showcases a level of deep distrust that suggests diplomatic solutions are, for now, completely off the table.
But we have to look at the other side of this equation in Section 3, Iran's retaliation, full reprisal warning.
Because, as you'd expect, Iran's reaction was immediate and fierce. A high-ranking Iranian security official speaking through the Tasnim agency called the U.S. media claims of a weekend strike absolute madness. They made it crystal clear that Iran has a, quote, comprehensive response plan ready to go. What does that mean? It means if a strike happens, they are fully prepared to launch reciprocal attacks targeting U.S. energy infrastructure and Israeli core infrastructure throughout the Middle East. Both sides are actively signaling a head-on collision.
So, to truly understand the gravity of this weekend, we have to ask ourselves, why now? Let's dive into Section 4, Why Now? The Broken Truce.
The absolute essential number you need to know here is 40. This represents the 40-day war that spanned from February 28 to April 8. It was a period of incredibly intense fighting between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. Iranian authorities claimed this exact 40-day window proved their military capabilities and their resolve, and it really serves as the foundation for their confidence in facing any new offensive today.
Let's actually track how this all fell apart step by step. First, we had that fragile June MOU, which seemed to promise peace. But it completely collapsed over fundamental disagreements regarding who actually controls the Strait of Hormuz. Following that breakdown, Iran began attacking civilian ships navigating the strait. In direct response to that, the U.S. launched 13 consecutive days of retaliatory airstrikes. So that promise of peace, it literally evaporated in just these 4 rapid steps.
And that brings us to the past week, which has just been a dizzying timeline of rapid tit-for-tat escalation. Look at this. A pause for negotiations on July 24th was shattered by a surprise Iranian attack on a U.S. base in Jordan on the 28th. The U.S. immediately retaliated with airstrikes on the 29th, followed by yet another brief pause on the 30th. It is exactly this relentless cycle of short pauses and sudden, violent retaliations that brought us directly to this weekend's tipping point.
Finally, we must examine the strategic choice of the target itself. In Section 5, Target, Energy Sector, Infrastructure and Focus.
Targeting oil facilities, gas facilities, and power plants is not just a standard military maneuver. As a former U.S. official pointed out, this specific strategy is designed to cripple Iranian military logistics and completely shatter the regime's effective governance. Energy exports are the absolute backbone of Iran's economy. Severing that lifeline is a fatal blow to the regime's survival.
which, as you can imagine, makes it highly likely to trigger the fiercest possible resistance in return.
So, the crucial takeaway from our analysis today, the big so what, is that this specific choice of target entirely changes the game. This is no longer just a regional military dispute in the Middle East, it elevates the situation to a massive global event. A strike on the energy grid and a subsequent collapse of that supply chain is a direct assault on the global economy itself.
As the clock ticks down toward Monday's market open, we are left with one critical, massive question. If these strikes on energy infrastructure actually happen this weekend, are we witnessing the spark of a global economic crisis, and have we passed the point of no return for full-scale war? The entire world is watching the Middle East right now. Thank you for joining this explainer, and definitely keep a close eye on the news as this unprecedented situation unfolds.